that there were actually devices that were planted in the building. The second device he speculates, was probably planted in the building.
There were 2 or 3 similar huge explosions, and the building literally shook. You literally shook at the base of this building.
First one and then the other. Some say after secondary explosions.
When a big explosion happened, all of a sudden the elevator blew up, smoke. I dragged the guy out. His skin was hanging off, and I dragged him out, and I helped him out to the ambulance.
Walking down the stairs, we made it to the 8th floor. Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor.
Just got out of the tunnel and it blew.
The subway tunnel?
Yeah.
Tell us what's happening out there.
Oh my
We just witnessed some kind of secondary follow-up explosion on the World Trade Center number 2, the one.
Secondary.
We understand now there has been a secondary explosion on Tower 2.
There was another major explosion. The building itself, literally the top of it came down, sending smoke and debris everywhere. Collapsed.
5 blocks from the World Trade Center, and we were standing here when there was some sort of collapse or explosion. Do you know if it was an explosion or if it was a building collapse?
To me, it sounded like an explosion.
When I try to say people, in the moment we heard a big explosion coming down, everything just went black. Everything came down, glass started popping, and people got hurt, stuff went on top of them, and it was a big explosion, and everything got dark, real dark, like snow.
The FBI is here, as you can see. They had roped this area off. They were taking photographs and securing this area just prior to that huge explosion that we all heard and felt.
Coming over our radio, get out of the area, the second tower is coming down.
They tell you the second tower is coming down?
Yes, it's about to collapse.
At 10:30, I tried to leave the building, but as soon as I got outside, I heard a second explosion and another rumble and more smoke and more dust. I ran inside the building, the chandelier shook, and again, black smoke filled the air. Within another 5 minutes, we were covered again with more silt and more dust. And then a fire marshal came in and said we had to leave because if there was a third explosion, this building might not last.
We just saw that as well. The second tower, the only one that was standing, tower number 1, we saw some kind of explosion, a lot of smoke come out at the top of the tower, and then it collapsed down onto the streets below.
David Lee, what can you tell us?
John, just seconds ago there was a huge explosion, and it appears right now the second World Trade Tower has just collapsed.
Un témoin se trouvait parmi une foule de personnes dans la rue Church Street, à 2 pâtés de maison de la tour sud, quand il a vu une série de flashs lumineux émis de l'intérieur du building entre les étages 10 et 15. Il a vu environ 6 de ces flashs accompagnés d'un crépitement avant que la tour ne s'effondre. Jenny Carr participait à une réunion d'affaires au 36e étage du One Liberty Plaza en face du World Trade Center et a par hasard enregistré le son de la première attaque. On peut entendre une seconde explosion 9 secondes après le crash. Alors que s'est-il passé dans la tour Nord? Demandons à Willy Rodriguez. Willy, un portier qui travaillait dans le World Trade Center depuis 20 ans, se trouvait dans le sous-niveau 1 quand la tour Nord fut touchée.
And all of a sudden we hear boom! I thought it was a generator that blew up on the basement. And I said to myself, oh my God, I think it's a generator. And I was going to verbalize it. When I finished saying that in my mind, I hear boom! Right on the top, pretty far away. So it was a difference between coming from the basement and coming from the top. And that's, everybody started screaming. And a person comes running into the office saying, explosion, explosion, explosion. He got his hand extended, and all the skin was pulled from his under his arm, all the way to the top of the fingertips, and he was hanging on both arms. Hanging and hanging. And then I look at his face, and he was missing parts on his face. And I said, what happened? What happened? And he said, the elevators, the elevators. And when there were many explosions, and when I actually talk about those explosions, they said that, well, there were so many kitchens in the building, and they have probably those gas canisters. And I said, I don't believe that, because the building was a Class A building. There are very strict guidelines of what you can put in a kitchen, and I really doubt it was gas in the basement. So there was a lot of misconceptions of what happened on that day in terms of the explosions. But up to date, I haven't received an actual explanation about the different explosions that I heard on the upper floors and not all the way to the top.
Les fenêtres du hall d'entrée de la tour nord avaient été soufflées. Et les panneaux de marbre avaient été arrachés des murs. Cela aurait été causé par le feu qui serait descendu à travers les cages d'ascenseur. Pourtant, dans le World Trade Center, les cages d'ascenseur étaient hermétiquement scellées. Et il est impossible que le feu ait eu assez d'oxygène pour descendre 400 mètres tout en conservant assez de force pour détruire les 8 étages du hall d'entrée. Le 11 septembre, la ville de New York perdit 343 pompiers. Étant donné que ce sont eux qui se trouvaient à l'intérieur des tours avant et pendant leur effondrement, ils doivent certainement avoir une bonne idée de ce qui s'est passé. Premièrement, nous avons cette interview provenant du documentaire des frères Naudet.
We made it outside, we made it about a block. We made it at least 2 blocks, and we started running. Floor by floor, instead of popping out. It was if they had detonated. They were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom. All the way down. I was watching it and running. Just ran up west. And then you just sort of this cloud of shit chasing you down. You couldn't outrun it.
Dans ces interviews, de nombreux pompiers de la caserne Engine 7 décrivent des explosions précédant les effondrements, sans oublier les dégâts dans le hall de la tour nord.
I heard a loud boom. And my first thing, I was right at the desk there, on the left-hand side when you come into Tower 1. And I walked out, I didn't go out, I walked to where all the doorway was, the glass was broken, and I looked out, and I seen in the building across the street, I seen the shadow coming, I seen just the shadow in the building across the street coming down. And with that,
I wasn't expecting to see the damage that I saw in the lobby, and the people, the bodies, the burnt people, the injured people. I really wasn't prepared for that.
The lobby is about 6 stories high, and the lobby looked as though a bomb had exploded there. All the glass was taken out. There were 10-foot by 10-foot marble panels that were once walls. They were loose from the wall of the Trade Center.
I went around by the freight elevator and I could see it was just blown. It was just a giant shit. 30th floor. We hear another explosion. And at that time we heard a huge explosion.
Le pompier Louis Caccioli déclara au journal People Weekly « J'étais parti avec d'autres pompiers dans l'ascenseur vers le 24e étage pour évacuer les travailleurs. Lors du dernier passage, une bombe explosa. On pense qu'il y avait des bombes placées dans le building. » Pendant plus d'1 an, les autorités bloquèrent la diffusion d'une bande vidéo contenant les enregistrements des pompiers dans le World Trade Center le 11 septembre. En novembre 2002, la bande fut finalement diffusée au New York Times et dans d'autres médias. Pourquoi a-t-il fallu autant de temps pour que cette bande soit publiée?
Warren Street because of the secondary explosion. We've got numerous people covered with dust from the secondary explosion. And we got another explosion on the tower, 1013. Tower 2 has had a major explosion and what appears to be a complete collapse surrounding the entire area. Who's involved in the secondary explosion at Tower 1K? I've got 5.
Le chef pompier Palmer avait atteint l'incendie au 78e étage de la tour sud et avait un plan pour pouvoir le stopper.
Isolated the pockets of fire. We should be able to knock it down 2 lines. They know that. 78th floor, numerous 1045 call horns.
Si au 78e étage, comme le gouvernement voudrait nous le faire croire, le feu était si intense qu'il pouvait fondre l'acier, Palmer n'aurait certainement pas pu l'atteindre. Le 12 août 2005, 15 nouvelles heures de transmission radio et de retranscription d'interviews avec les pompiers furent finalement rendues publiques. Les pompiers décrivent 2 événements concordants avec une démolition contrôlée. Des flashs lumineux depuis l'intérieur du building et des crépitements